Hello and welcome. In this video, I'll be doing my review of Horde mode. Now, I won't be going into very specific details as I need to play this mode a lot more times to thoroughly figure out all the intricate details, but I feel that this video will adequately sum up all of my thoughts on this mode, so without further delay, let's get knee-deep into the dead. So Horde mode is based on an arcade-style gameplay that has you performing a variety of activities, with the main focus being arena and wave-based combat. So if you were expecting a never-ending type of Horde mode, kind of like COD Zombies, then this is not the one. Now, how does it work? Well, Horde mode is broken down into 3 campaigns. Each campaign is based in an existing level. So the first one is Cultist Base, the second one is Reclaimed Earth, and the third one is the Holt. Now, after having played through all of these campaigns, I can say they've done a good job with all of the locations that they've picked. However, my main issue with them is using Reclaimed Earth. Now, as much as I like that level, I had always found some of the arenas in that level to be very uninspired. It felt like a typical template that was used from some sort of multiplayer game. However, the exterior parts of the level are easily some of the best in the entire game, and I'll go into more specifics a bit later on. Now, in each campaign, you have a total of 3 arenas that you'll be fighting in, along with 2 blitz rounds and 2 traversal-based puzzles. The arenas, the blitz, and the traversal rounds are preset, which means they'll be in the same location every time you play. However, there is some level of randomization when it comes to demons in the arenas, although I don't know how much they are randomized because I've seen a lot of the times in my experience the same demon every single time, including the bounty demons as well. In each arena, there is going to be one wave where high value targets, or as they're known in Horde mode, bounty targets will spawn. There's going to be a range of either 2, 3, or even 4 of them, depending on the type of demon. So if it's a fodder demon, chances are it's always going to be 4. If it's a heavy demon, chances are it's going to be 3. And if it's a super heavy, it's more than likely going to be 2. Now, just like in Doom 2016 with the bonus point sphere, as soon as these high value targets spawn, they will have a gold outline, and you'll have a few seconds to kill them. I think it's roughly like 10 to 15 seconds. If you don't kill them in time, then their color will degrade. So it goes from gold to silver to bronze. Once you kill all of them, they will leave behind a pickup for you to use whenever you want. This pickup, depending on the color, will provide you with a bonus point multiplier and a damage multiplier as well, just like quad damage power up. So if it's gold, it's going to be multiplied by 4. If it's silver, it's going to be multiplied by 3, and so on. And it's completely up to you when you want to use it. And I think this is a very good decision, and I am very happy that they did this. And the reason why is because it caters to such a wide variety of players. So if you're someone that really doesn't care about points, and you're just doing it to practice against enemies, or just to have some fun, or just to kill some time, then you don't have to pick up the power-up anytime or at the most opportune time. You can leave the power-up and use it when you need it most. You can also stack multiple of these pickups as well, so if you pick up 2 of these times 4, it will then turn into times 16. So overall, this is a great way to utilize high-value targets. So let's go through all of the arenas that you'll be playing in, including the ones for the traversal and the blitz rounds, and then I'll give some feedback on it after. So for Cultist Base, the first arena is the one where you acquire the rocket launcher in the base campaign. Then the blitz round is in the area with the shootable hazard, very early on in the level. The first traversal area is in the main Cultist room. The second arena is the one at the end of the level, just before getting on the train to Doom Hunter Base. The second traversal is in the area just before getting the rocket launcher. The second blitz round is where we fight the whiplashes in the base campaign. And then finally, the last arena fight on Cultist Base is the Slayer Gate. It's a very tight arena with little freedom of movement, and I can see why they would pick this arena, as it can really box you in if you're not too careful. Especially since this fight has a few tyrants and archviles that spawn in such a tight area. So overall, all of the arenas in Cultist base are solid. My main issues are with the first traversal room and the second blitz round. Those areas are fine and well, but I feel that there were much better alternatives that they could have used. For example, for the traversal room, they could have used the flesh pit. They could have included climbing walls or shootable platforms and have the player ascend all the way up. They could have utilized all 4 walls of the pit to really make it an interesting puzzle. They could have also included some hazards or something like that to really spice it up. Now for the blitz round, I feel the perfect room for this was the massive room right after you acquire the super shotgun. It's open and has a clear line of sight to all of the areas. It also has a central pillar that you can use for a line of sight if need be. Now for the arenas, while they are very good, I'm surprised they didn't use the very first mini arena. I feel this would have been a very good option for either the blitz round or as a starter arena, because it's asymmetrical, relatively open, but not too big. Similarly for the second and third arenas, I'm surprised that they didn't use the big open arena where the cinematic plays, which I feel in the base campaign was a great arena. Alternatively, I would have loved to see them use the arena where you take control of the Revenant drone. That is a surprisingly well made area, and it gives me a King of the Hill vibe, where on top of this platform or this pillar, you have a clear line of sight to the entire area. But anyways, overall I'm quite happy with Cultist base. The existing arenas, the blitz and the traversal areas are quite well made. I have to say that I really like the mentality behind the first coin collecting room. It's circular and easy to maneuver around, but they've included a cursed prowler, which I have to admit is a smart decision. Now what would have been funnier is if they had a carcass instead, and that carcass would just be putting shields up in front of you the whole time, but I'm not going to give them any more ideas. Now what happens when you finish a campaign? Well, your progress is then saved as a checkpoint. So at this stage you can then leave and take a break, and when you return you can then start from the next campaign. And I have to say I am really glad that they did this, because the entire mode, the entire Horde mode, takes roughly 1.5 hours to maybe 2 hours depending on your speed. So I'm glad they've included these breaks in between. Now let's talk about Reclaimed Earth, the one that I have a bit of an issue with. Now overall it is a very solid campaign, but I feel as though Emora would have been a better option. Specifically when you're outside of the walls of Emora. That whole map is quite abstract and asymmetrical, whereas I've always felt that a couple of the arenas in Reclaimed Earth are based off of a multiplayer template. They don't really feel that inspired. But anyways, let's go through each phase and then I'll provide my feedback on it. The first arena is the one at the beginning of the level. I've always liked this arena due to its L-shaped design and overall asymmetry. Now I feel I need to mention that symmetry is not a bad thing when it comes to arenas, but I feel as though all of the best arenas in the game are asymmetrical, even if a little bit. Now the first blitz round is a very small area filled with screechers and prowlers. This phase is something that I really like. It uses the environment quite well, and the enemy choices are solid. Single target weapons like the mobile turret, the full auto, and the super shotgun are perfect for this place. You can do a full sweep of the room in either direction, either clockwise and anti-clockwise. Either way it works out quite well. The first traversal is located in one of the arenas. I believe it's the second last arena of the map. This would have been a good option for a combat arena instead of a traversal arena. I don't really feel as though this particular phase works quite well as a traversal puzzle. It doesn't really flow as well. Nothing like the Cultist base, which actually flows quite well. Then the second arena is the one right after you fix the train and parkour over to the other building. Overall, it's a good choice, but I'm very surprised that they never bothered using the very first open arena as soon as you spawn into the map. That massive open parking lot type arena makes for an incredible combat encounter. Unfortunately, they did use this space, at least a small part of it, for a traversal round, which I feel was not a good idea. The open parking lot area would work so damn well, and what would have made it even better is if they included meat hooking points around the place. Now, if you don't happen to have the super shotgun by this phase, the arena is still large enough for you to zip around very comfortably. And this is where I talk about the traversal round. Even though it is well made, it still uses the open parking lot area. Regardless, by this stage you will most likely have the super shotgun and you will be needing it to cross the gap. I don't have any complaints with the traversal itself because it is pretty straightforward and overall pretty fun. The next blitz round happens where the tram is stuck. This is the area just before the previously mentioned box-shaped arena. I have to say this is a great blitz round. They've included plenty of barons, and since you have an SSG by this point, this blitz round feels a lot more fun. Although I have found myself running out of ammo fairly quickly here, so make sure you use all of the weapons at your disposal. The last arena fight on Reclaimed Earth is the last arena of the map, and again, I'm not really too much of a fan of this arena for the same reason mentioned before. It feels like a standard deathmatch template level, but this arena does provide a good challenge, especially with all of the possessed enemies. I feel as though if they had used the open parking lot area as the second arena phase, I would have been more than happy to keep this arena as it is. So that way you have an arena of each type. First one being the asymmetrical L-shaped arena. The second should have been the flat but very large and open combat arena. And the last one should have been the one where free movement is somewhat limited, but there are plenty of levels and line of sight opportunities for you to utilize. Overall, I feel as though Reclaimed Earth is the weakest out of the rest, but that does not mean that it is bad because it isn't. Finally, let's talk about the Holt, the one where I have had so many deaths in my Ultra Nightmare run that I hate this place. But since this is a review, I have to be somewhat impartial, and I have to say that this particular phase or this campaign is, in my opinion, the best one out of the rest. Not only do you have all of your arsenal by this point, the arenas and the location itself, the actual core design of the Holt, is something that actually makes it so much better. So let's go through all of the phases and then I will provide my feedback on each of them. So the first arena in the Holt is the very first arena of the actual map. I have some very bad memories of this place during my Ultra Nightmare runs, so I know this arena quite well. Overall, I have to say this was a very good decision, because this arena itself is quite abstract, it's not too boxy, and as you can guess, it is asymmetrical. So overall, this arena was a very good choice as a starter. Then we move on to the first Blitz round, and I can confidently say that this is my most favorite Blitz round out of the entire Horde mode. The map choice that they picked is perfect. The enemy choices, perfect. The way they've utilized this specific mini arena is honestly masterful. They've included jump pads, the dash refills, and the meat hooking points, along with hammer ammo pickups. And the enemies they've chosen are the stone imps, which of course, since they are fodder enemies, they will die in one hammer smash. This is easily one of my favorite. I genuinely have nothing bad to say about this one. So this one definitely gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Then for the first traversal or coin collecting room, they used the Samur boss fight arena, which I think was a very good decision. Not only that, they've included tentacles on the topmost platforms, which was very sneaky of them, and I have to say they pissed me off quite a lot, but overall, I think this map is actually easily one of the best one. It flows quite well, and the enemies such as the Bloodmakers, they can really sneak up on you, so you really have to be paying attention and moving around as best as possible, so this one is great. Although I still would have liked seeing the Cacodemon or the Pillar room. If you don't know which one I'm talking about, I'll flash the image up now. I would have loved seeing this room being utilized as either a blitz round or even as a traversal or coin collecting round. But regardless, let's move on. For the second arena, we go through the famous, or I should say infamous, Slayer Gate arena. This has also been used in Proday's Horde mode mod, and I have to say this is easily one of the best arenas out there. It is very tight-knit, and there's little to no freedom of movement, but it is designed quite well, so you can either move clockwise or anti-clockwise, and overall it flows extremely well. The difficulty of this arena is, I would say, fairly high, and with a few possessed demons and a few tyrants as well, so again, no complaints here. Then the next traversal round is just before the Pillar Room arena. Overall, this is actually designed quite well, and it took me a lot of tries to actually figure it out the very first time. Regardless, I really have no complaints about this specific traversal phase, so let's move on. Then the next Blitz round is something I absolutely love. I love the way they've utilized this particular part of the Holt. Funnily enough, this is just before the final main arena of Tag 1, or at least the map itself, and I always found that this particular area right after you use the jump pad was very underutilized, even though it's designed and it looks so beautiful. And you guessed it, it is symmetrical, but the enemies that they've chosen are the tyrants, and by this stage you have most if not all of your arsenal at this stage, so this one is definitely a lot of fun. And finally, the arena where I think I died the most amount of times during my Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare runs. I feel this arena is the perfect arena to use as the last location. The difficulty and the challenge this arena presents is pretty high, exactly as Hugo promised. It has a lot of possessed enemies, has a lot of archviles, tyrants, you name it. It throws literally everything at you. The layout and design of the arena itself complements the difficulty pretty well. Not only is it, again, asymmetrical, but it has a wide variety of levels that you can traverse, and you can easily go from one level to the other, either using a meat hook or using the jump pads available to you. So basically, I think that the Holt, without a doubt, is easily the best part about Horde mode. The layout, the arena design, the arena choices, and the actual encounters themselves, I think, have a lot of effort put into it. Now, that does not mean that the Cultist base and the Reclaimed Earth are bad. I just think that the Holt, because you have all of your arsenal by this point, really allows you to get into the fun zone, at least personally anyway. Now, as for my closing remarks about Horde mode, overall, it is a very solid and extremely well-made mode. If you haven't tried it already, I would highly advise you to check it out, regardless of your skill level. I guarantee you'll have a lot of fun, even if you only play through it once. Now, speaking about playing through it once, I kinda wish there was an option to have randomized arena every time you start a new Horde mode. So let's say the first time you play Horde mode, you have all of the arenas that I spoke about, but then the next time you play it, there are a bunch of arenas and the game randomly picks 3 out of all of them. I think that would have been a very good way to keep the replayability of this mode, but after speaking with Hugo, he mentioned that it's not entirely possible, not because it isn't technically possible, it is. The fact that their scope does not really account for such a high variation when it comes to Horde mode. Therefore, I think at this stage, we probably won't see any sort of randomized arena feature anytime soon. But again, never say never. You never know, Hugo or the developers might change their minds later on in the future. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my review of Horde mode. Let me know in the comments below whether you agree with what I said or disagree with what I said. Let me know which campaign is your favorite. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video.